again. Welcome to Conversations with
Chris
and Crystal. And we are
picking up again with the Way Down Workshop.
With the Way Down Workshop.
Yeah, when I was young, quite a bit younger, I was quite thin. I took after my father, who when he was in his teens and 20s, he was extremely painfully thin. He was like 6'2" and 145 pounds. I mean, that's painfully thin. Mm-hmm. So was I. And so I could eat anything and never gain a pound. And part of that, I think, was the fact that I would get involved in whatever I was doing, and I would, be one of those people that everyone hates. I would forget to eat.
Yeah.
And then it's because, you're not hungry.
Right.
When you're,
right.
But anyway.
You're busy.
I wouldn't eat very much either when I did eat. But, as I got older, my metabolism slowed down, and food got way more interesting to me, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so, people, they hate people who don't gain weight, because it's like, well, I've always had to diet and this and that. Well, everybody's different. So, I always used to tell people, it'll catch up to me, because it caught up to my father, so I knew it was coming for me, and it did.
Yeah.
So
people told me that too when I was younger, that it'll catch up to you someday, and maybe you shouldn't curse us like that.
Yeah, well, I cursed myself that way, but
so don't do that to yourself. Yeah, it's there's ways to deal with it, and
well, and then it sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Because you don't do anything different. That's why football players, if you notice, football players are always so fit. Well, when they stop playing football, they don't stop eating the same way that they ate when they were exercising. They get heavier.
Yep.
So, and the other thing that I've noticed, as you get older, of course, things hurt, and you're stiff and whatever. So you're like, I don't feel like exercising. Well, I have found if you do exercise, in spite of that, your joints don't hurt as much.
Right.
Because it's good for you. And so, it doesn't have to be going to the gym and,
right.
You can dance around in your house.
True.
If nobody's there,
walk around the block.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, here it's hot.
In the summer,
In the
it
summer,
will get warm. Yeah, then you need a what is treadmill?
Yeah.
Treadmill. So
but a lot of treadmills sit there and become coat hangers.
Yep.
So.
Works real well. Yep.
So that's why I say,
done that. Yep.
Just put on some music and dance around the house. Wait till everybody's gone if you don't feel comfortable dancing in front of people, and dance around the house.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. It's a good.
My cats don't make fun of me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing. So we will put a link below. We don't get anything from that. It's just something that I think some people should be interested in. And again, it's about hearing from God. It's about talking to Him about your weight situation. I remember one of the ladies saying that she felt like she would ask God, am I truly hungry? And if she wasn't, He would find something else for her to do, and it would keep her from eating right away.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, to check in with Him. When I first did the program, the very first day, I took my Bible with me to work, and she said, if you feel hungry, just go to the Bible, just flip it open, put your finger on something, and start reading. And so I did that first day, and the verse that I got was, taste of the Lord, for He is good. And I went, okay, this is the program for me. I am where I'm supposed to be. There's so many things. There's so many stories to tell. But I love she talks about a song. She has a whole story behind it, and I'm sure you can hear that. But it was a song from, now I can't think of it. It was a 50s and 60s group. And it was Save Your Heart for Me. And she got up in the morning, and she just felt, she was praying, she felt God wasn't talking to her, so she just got in the car to go to work, at the church, or I can't remember where she worked at that time, and she put in a CD, and she must have hit the third one or whatever, and this song started to play, and she realized God was talking to her, singing to her, Save Your Heart for Me. And so that night, it was January in Minnesota. We live 2 blocks from the church. It's about 8 o'clock at night, so it's pretty cold. and I went out and I drove around the neighborhood playing the 50s station and said, God, sing to me. And I can't remember the songs, but there were 4, and it was like he was talking right to me. And I mentioned this to a gal years later, and we were working on a play, and she went out to the car. I didn't know what happened to her. She was missing. She was taking tickets and things, and she disappeared. She came back in tears. I told her the story, so she went out to the car, and I think it was, who was it? It was some psychedelic group or heavy metal group that she was listening to, and she came in tears and said God talked to her, saying to her. And I was like, okay, I guess that's okay. But it worked for her. And I did. I just, like I said, I turned it on and I said, God, speak to me, sing to me. And the next song that came on was because you can hear from him anywhere. You can hear from him on billboards. You can see a billboard at some point and it confirms something that you're thinking about or you're wondering about, or somebody that comes up and talks to you and confirms or reaffirms what God is telling you and says, oh, this is what I think you should be doing. It's like, I had that thought. And it confirms that for you. And that's what this program was all about, was hearing. So the reason I moved to Arizona, because there was a church down here that we came to help. And I told Jeff, I said, what would you say if I told you that I think we're supposed to move to Arizona? And he said, okay. I was like, okay, that was too simple. But that's how it came to be. And I knew that we needed to move and help build a church down here. But it was, again, hearing from God, hearing those things and knowing. And my dad didn't get it, though, because I said, when we moved, I felt like I was standing on a peak, and I put my arms out, and I would just fall, and God would catch me, and say, don't worry, I've got this. I've got you. And I'm talking metaphorically here.
Yeah,
but my dad,
don't go jumping off a cliff.
But my dad said, well, you wouldn't go stand in front of a car. And I'm like, okay, you missed my point. Okay. Faith is kind of an issue that I needed people to hear, but that wasn't what he heard. But that's how I felt inside. I felt like I was really releasing everything to God and letting him just take it. I remember sitting in the house and going through my stuff and going, well, I need to take that, I need to take that, I need to take that, I need to move that. And he said to me, you really think I can't get you that in Arizona? You have to haul it. And it was like, okay, I don't need that, I don't need that, and I don't need that. And I gave a lot of stuff away. And we did end up bringing a lot of stuff. We started out in an apartment, and it turned out that half the stuff didn't fit in the apartment either, so we had to get rid of even more stuff when we got here. And so it was, but it worked out. And but that, again, it was all from going through the workshop and learning how to listen and hear from God, hear that move. And
that's another thing that's really good too, is when you do give everything to the Lord, he takes care of you. He's our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
So he's not going to let you sit there and be, I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah, you're going. No, he's going to. His promise is that you will have what you need.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You may not get what you want because it may not be what's the best for you, but you will get what you need.
There's that verse, "My God shall supply all of your needs."
Yeah. That's it, exactly. So we want to, know that that's it. She tells stories about people who. One woman was eating M&Ms and in the car, and they flew all over the car. She opened it up and they went flying everywhere, and so. She talks about rating the food, so you're not going to eat them off the floor of the car. I mean, you're just not. And then she talks about a woman who made herself a banana split, and a big, beautiful banana split, got it all, everything, all the fixings, everything on it. And all of a sudden, all of these firemen come bursting through her door and say, "You have to get out. There's a fire." So she leaves with them, and only to find out they were at the wrong address. So she comes back in, and her cat has eaten the entire banana split. So the question is that really
She
what
left
you were
without
supposed
her
to?
cat?
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. How they maybe I don't know, but the cat ate it. Well, I mean, she didn't know what was going on
Well,
because there was nothing going on. But they
Well, I
didn't.
know, but
They just told her to get out.
somebody
so she
tells
got
me
out.
there's a fire, I'm taking my cat.
I know. Well,
Sorry.
anyway, her
Sorry.
cat ate the banana split. I think it was very happy,
Yeah.
and
And full.
and full, very full. And I did that once with God. I made a deal. About a block from our house was a convenience store that had donuts in it, and the people from church would always stop there because we were a couple blocks from the church. They would stop there to get their donuts for Sunday school and all that kind of stuff in the morning. And so I made a deal with God. I said, I tell you what, I'm not going to go get a donut until after church. I'll see if it's there, right? I am partial to Bavarian-filled, cream-filled Bismarcks, okay, with the chocolate on top. And so I went there after church, and this is another thing she talks about. She said, have you ever noticed when, there was one Bismarck left and it was in the wrong tray, which means somebody probably touched it, put it back in the wrong place. And she said, and so that kind of, maybe you don't want that one. And that's another thing about eating. You become picky about what you're going to eat. If you're going to eat something, it's going to be exactly what you want, and this was not going to be it. So Jeff had been playing the night before. He's a musician. He was at home in bed, and I went and woke him up after 12 noon there, and I said, we have to go find me a donut. Okay, so we drive to another location, and they had just refilled all of their donuts. It was absolutely stocked, completely stacked up, at no Bavarian cream fill. Okay, moving on. So we went down further where I used to live, and when I was growing up, and they didn't have any Bavarian cream filled. So we turned around, we came back, because I had seen across the street from the first place we went to, there was a bakery. And so we went over there. I said, let's stop there. And for whatever reason, they had a sign on their door that said they were closed for daylight savings time. I have no, I mean, screwy stuff like that. And Jeff and I went back to the car, and he said, do you have the hint now that maybe you're not supposed to have this donut? And we never did find a donut. We never did get that. But that's the kind of stories that come up when you're dealing with this. It's interesting how God teaches you and moves you around, and okay, Lord, what am I supposed to do? I think too. I had heard the thing. If you think you're hungry, drink water, go for a walk, or find something else to do. And I literally back then I had one skein of yarn and my crochet hook, and I would just crochet, and then I'd unravel it and start over again, just so I could keep my hands busy. Because that's the other thing. She said, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands because you're not eating all the time. And you do. You get a lot of stuff done. It's amazing.
Yeah, and like we were talking in our prior video about how when you're in front of the computer or the TV, it's so easy to just mindlessly eat while you're, so yeah.
Well, like she said too, when you first start thinking you're hungry, is it head hunger or is it true hunger? And you're in your mode. What happened with me is I would work on the computer and I would be creating things for people. And when I get creative, I'm eating constantly. It's just shoving. I would have those little packets of Famous Amos cookies, the little tiny ones, out of the machine. Mm-hmm. And I'd have like 12 or 15 of those empty bags all around me at the end of what I was doing. And I would be like, okay, do I have any more left? Where's another one? And so her bringing that to my attention, because she said, okay, you think you're hungry, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I realized I was eating to create. And so I was able to stop that and do something a little differently. But yeah, it was a crazy situation. She just really brings you to your own self-awareness, to be self-aware of what's going on, or aware of what's going on around you and what you're thinking and what you're trying to do. And
she does have a number of free videos on YouTube.
Yep.
So we'll put a link to that in the description below.
Absolutely.
You can check it out and see if it's a program that you'd be interested in working with.
Yeah, working with, or again, some of these things are just really common sense, very simple like cutting the food in half at a restaurant, not eating the whole thing. I mean, that can stop you from gaining weight or help you to lose weight pretty quickly because you're changing what you do. It is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle, and that I truly do believe. I do believe that it's something that you can maintain. But again, things get away from you. It's easy to nibble here and there, and again, you get stressed out, and you just I'm a stress eater, so that's what happens to me. So I'm stressed out.
Am I stressing you out?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, well, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time. And remember,
Take care of yourself because nobody else will.